Okay, so what we're going to look at are basic special angle pairs that are created when we have a transversal. So let's start off with, first of all, what is a transversal? Okay, whenever you have two coplanar lines, they do not have to be parallel. They just have to be coplanar, meaning they're in the same plane. When you have two coplanar lines, a transversal is actually a line that intersects those two coplanar lines at different points. So this is your transversal. Kind of means cut across. Okay, so that's your transversal. And when you have a transversal, the transversal actually creates 8 angles in this particular example, and that creates 4 different types of special angle pairs that we really haven't looked at yet. So we're going to look at those different types of angle pairs. All right, the first angle pairs we're going to see are called corresponding angles. Okay, now when you look at this, first of all, I'm going to label these angles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So you can actually see those angles. So let's look at the corresponding angle pairs. All right. So for corresponding basically means that they are in the same relative position. So basically they're in the same position. And when you think about corresponding, you think about they correspond to each other. Well, the same position means they're going to both be on the same side of the transversal, left or right, and then they're both going to be on the same side or in the same position based on the coplanar, one of the coplanar lines that transversal is intersecting. So let's look at our first set of correspondings. Corresponding angles would be like 1 and 5. So angle 1 and angle 5 are your first pair. Now, if you were to draw angle 1 and angle 5, angle 1's on the left of the transversal and it looks above the coplanar line. Technically, it's not above, but we're using that just for visual. The angle itself, the other side of the angle, is the bottom of the angle. It's above. For angle 5, it is also on the left of the transversal. The bottom of the angle is here and it's above. So 1 and 5 are both on the left and what appears to be above. Now we call that above, just like I said, for reference. That's not technically what you're going to call it, but basically the angles are in the same relative position. They both have one side up, one side left. Okay, so then we look at another pair, 3 and 7. So angle 3 and angle 7 are also corresponding angles. They're both on the left, and both of them are what we would say visually below. But basically what that means is they both have a side that goes down and a side that goes left for 3 and 7. So now let's look at the other 2 and 6. You have angle 2 and angle 6. Angle 2 and angle 6 are both on the right of the transversal, and they're both what we would call above visually, or one side's up, one side's right. They both have the same position and the same direction for their sides. This one has up and right, and this one has a side that's up and a side that's to the right. Okay, so our last pair would be angle 4 and angle 8. Here and here. Both of them are on the right of the transversal and what we would say below, based on where the numbers are, or both of them have a side that goes down and the side that goes to the right. 8 has a side that goes down and a side to the right. So those are your corresponding angles. Okay, so let's look at another pair of angles that we have, and that is our alternate interior angles. Now, alternate interior angles get their name because they're interior. Interior means inside the coplanar line, so we've got 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Those are your only options for interior. Alternate means they're kind of in alternate positions from each other. They're on opposites as opposed to right and left, up and down, above or below. So let's look at our pairs. Well, the first pair would be angle 3 and angle 6. Angle 3 and angle 6, sorry about that. So angle 3 and angle 6 are alternate interior. The other pair would be angle 4 and angle 5. if you look at these angles, 4 and 5, 5's on the left, 4's on the right. The position of angle 5 is one side goes up, one goes to the left. The position of angle 4, one goes down and one goes to the right. 3 and 6 is the same thing. One side of angle 3 is on the left of the transversal, 6 is on the right. Angle 3 has a side that goes left and a side that goes down. 6 has a side that goes right and a side that goes up. So those are your alternate interiors. And pay attention to the vocabulary. That will help you. Interior indicates inside, and alternate indicates they're in alternate positions. They're kind of opposite of each other. Okay, so let's look at our next pair, which is our alternate exterior angles. And this is going to apply the same principle as the alternate interior angles. So if I go alternate exterior, now I'm talking about the 4 angles on the outside. So it has to be 1, 2, 7, and 8. So my alternates will be 1 and 8. So I've got angle 1 and angle 8. 1 is on the left of the transversal, 8 is on the right. 1 is above, 8 is below. 1 has one side going to the left and one going up. 8 has one side going to the right and one going down. They're opposites of each other. Therefore, the other pair would be angle 2 and angle 7. So those are your alternate exterior angles. We do have 2 more types of angles that we're going to look at. And the first pair that we're going to look at are our same side interiors. Again, look at the vocabulary and look at the names of the angles. That will help you with what they're doing and what their position is. Same side means they're going to be on the same side of the transversal. Interior means they're both going to be inside. So that would be angle 4 and angle 6, and angle 3 and angle 5. Angle 4 and angle 6 are both on the right side of the transversal, and they're both on the inside. Angle 3 and angle 5 are both on the left side of the transversal, and they're on the inside. So it's not meant to trick you. You should be able to see it. Okay? All right, so we've got one more angle pair type, and that's going to be same side exterior. This is going to follow the same principle as same side interior, but now we're looking at the exterior angles, which are 1 and 2, 7 and 8. So angle 1 is on the same side as angle 7, and angle 2 is on the same side as angle 8. So those are your same side exteriors. 2 and 8 are both on the right of the transversal, and they're exterior. 1 and 7 are both on the left, and they're on the exterior. Now, just so you can look at what I'm talking about with interior and exterior, I want you to be able to see this visually. This, oops, if I could spell, it's not English, right? It's math. This is the interior. All of this area here, inside, is the interior portion of the picture. So when we're looking at alternate interior, alternate exterior, etc., we're looking on the interior. Everything else out here is the exterior portion of the picture. So when we talk about alternate interior and alternate exterior, you should be able to look at the picture and determine what's an interior and what's an exterior. You've got the 2 coplanar lines here. I'll darken them up for you a little bit. You've got your 2 coplanar lines here, and those are your boundaries. They create boundaries between the different types of spaces, and they create the angles themselves. So the interior is on the inside of those coplanar lines. The exterior is on the outside. So those are your basic angle pairs that are formed with transversals. Now, we do have a couple of other angle pairs that we have already talked about that are already present, and that is the vertical angles, which we know are always congruent. And you've got vertical angle pairs here as well. 2 and 3. 1 and 4. 5 and 8. And 6 and 7. we've already talked about vertical angles. We already know what those are, and we know that each pair individually is congruent to each other. So let's look at the other pair that we have. We have the linear pairs. Remember, the vertical angles are always congruent. The linear pairs are always supplementary. What does supplementary mean? Supplementary means they add up to 180 degrees. So I'm going to look at all my linear pairs, and there are 8 here. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and 7 and 8. Those are the ones that we most frequently spot. Now let's look this way. We've got a line here, right? So 1 and 3 are a linear pair. 2 and 4, 5 and 7, and 6 and 8. And those are your 8 linear pairs, and all of those pairs will add up to 180. So those are all the angle pairs you're going to see when a transversal intersects 2 other coplanar lines and creates these 8 angles.